Hello, everybody, and welcome to Journey with the Kellers. My name is Amanda Keller, and today, or tonight, I should say, we are heading off to the Christmas Light Fight 2020 winner, the East Peoria Festival of Lights Parade, and consequentially, their 40th anniversary. So let's go check it out. So this year for the parade, they handed out these light sticks, which my husband is using as windshield wipers. Okay, you guys, so every year the parade starts with the police and the fire department escorting the parade down the road. They blow their horns and play their sirens, and the kids love it. And then, of course, the top of the fire truck has firemen in it waving to everybody. At one time, the parade actually did throw candy and stuff. I think they figured out that got a little dangerous because kids were running out into the road, and these floats do have people driving them and stuff, and it's hard to see. So I think they quit doing that as more of a safety measure. This parade has been going on for 40 years. It started in 1984 as part of the centennial celebration for the city of East Peoria. And then it just kind of snowballed into this huge event. So the parade is actually the beginning of what is called the East Peoria Festival of Lights, which is a whole festival. We do have a drive-through thing that a lot of these floats go up and become a part of the drive-through that you can pay. I think it's like $10 a car, maybe even a little cheaper through the week. And you can drive through and see the floats and then also see all these other decorations. It's really cool. They also do the tree, the enchanted forest, where it's all the decorated Christmas trees is in another part. There's a nativity scene and all of that. So this is our first float of the night. Of course, the Welcome to the East Peoria Festival of Lights float. And as you can see, there is a toy soldier walking behind it in a spotlight. That is Felipe. He is the mascot of the festival. So he lights up the wreath that we have, a huge Christmas wreath that is sitting up on a hill in East Peoria, and does all kinds of events, and the whole thing is kind of mascotted by him. So there's Felipe's Winter Wonderland is the name of the drive-through up on the hill. This year was actually new this year, I think. Unless it was there last year and I just don't remember it. But this is basically the VFW. It's just a little lighted trailer with a couple of the people in it. Some of the veterans in it go by and wave, and so it's great for them to participate. And of course, you do need to have the United States flag. So this is beautifully lit up. Has been part of the parade for quite a few years. I don't know if there are any floats that are still in it now that were in it originally when it started. I do know that it was started because of a manager at the Holiday Inn in East Peoria had once worked in Niagara Falls and seen a parade like this, and he was the one that kind of got it started. It was actually supposed to only be a one-time thing for the centennial of East Peoria, and then everybody just loved it. So volunteers started showing up, businesses started sponsoring, and it just became a huge thing. So of course we have the military services here, the Army, the Air Force, the National Guard. I think like the Navy and stuff is on the other side. You just can't see them from our point of view. But of course we have to, have our military services in there. And then this was a new one for this year because of the 40th anniversary. So this is just like the little 40th anniversary float. So it's really cute. Now, we will start getting into the big floats, as I call them, here in a minute. But, of course, we have the lighted trolley. Now, this does have people on it. I think this is like the people for the parade that run the parade and stuff. Originally, the parade was done by the businesses would sponsor floats. Now it's mainly paid for by the East Peoria taxes, and they do have trouble getting volunteers. This takes like a year to get set up. So they start over again in January to start getting this ready for the parade and the festival. And they need lots of volunteers, and I know that they're getting shorter and shorter on volunteers like everything else. So here, of course, is our first like really big float, the dinosaur. He is so awesome. I love to see him go by. Now, at one time, all of these floats were actually being driven by either like little go-karts or trucks or whatever that were underneath or behind or whatever the floats, and they were being driven by a person around. So, unfortunately, we do have some times where things just don't work. So you can barely see this because it's so dark out, but that is a float going by right now that the lights, unfortunately, are not working. So this was another dinosaur. It was the Brontosaurus, or I think a Brontosaurus. So you can't see him because all of his lights are out. Unfortunately, it happens sometimes. There's nothing you can do if it just fritzes out right when you're getting ready to start the parade. But that's okay. Everything else was pretty much lit and going well. And so that's what matters. So we did this parade, or not the parade, the festival did win the Christmas light fights in 2020. It was a huge success. They showed off some of these floats and all of that, and we actually won it. So that was fantastic. So, of course, here we have Pete's Dragon, and I call it Pete's Dragon Baby, even though Pete Dragon didn't have a baby, but it's still really cute. I love how the wings just kind of flap around, and then his eyes glow really pinky red. And so that's fantastic. One of my favorite floats is coming up behind this. This is the Chinese dragon. He actually, as you can tell, does drive around. He also can blow smoke out of his mouth. I did hear him hissing, and you might hear him hissing on the video, but I don't know that he actually had steam coming out of his mouth this time. But this is one of my favorite floats. It is so awesome. It has been in the parade for quite some time. It's beautiful. You will see times where the parade pauses, either for their guides, which this truck coming up with the headlights right now is probably one of the guides for the Chinese dragon, so he can see where he's going. And sometimes they have to stop or slow down because floats are going around a curve. And so here he comes toward us now, and usually there would be some steam coming out of his mouth. So I just love him. He's awesome. Okay, so this is the 40th anniversary. This has been going on since 1984. It is a huge event, not just in East Peoria, but throughout Illinois. A lot of people know about this parade, and now a lot of other towns are doing parades like this because East Peoria started this parade, and it became such a big event. So our next float coming up is, of course, the space shuttle. And it's really cool. The doors on the top open up and a little astronaut comes out, and he's working on some things that are above the shuttle. And there's a little planet floating above there that the rings light up. And then he, goes back down inside and the doors close back up. And so that's really cool that they kind of put that little extra thing on there to have a little movement on the float. Not that the float itself isn't enough, because it's pretty awesome, to be honest with you. So like I said, we do get a few pauses sometimes between floats. They do try to keep them a little bit spaced out just because you don't want them too close to each other. You don't want them to ram into each other. But our next float that is coming up is the TIE Fighter, you guys. So I don't know that they actually call these the TIE Fighter or that they give them their actual names because, they're probably not really supposed to. But it's a TIE Fighter to me. So we're still looking at the shuttle here because we're at a little pause as they're going around a corner down the street. But we'll go back to the TIE Fighter here in just a second. Okay, so here comes the TIE Fighter. Now, the really cool thing about the TIE Fighter is they made it look like it is shooting lasers out of it at somebody or whoever in front of it. So that's really cool. And it's got these little red flashing lights that looks like it's moving really fast. So it's just really cool. They did a really well at detailing a lot of these floats, you guys. It's really awesome to see. So I love this festival. We try to go as often as we can. We got really lucky. We got to park right on the street where the festival was going by. So we could actually stay in our car and stay warm to watch it. It was pretty chilly. So there it is. There's a TIE Fighter. You can see the little, like it's moving through space. And then on the front are the lasers coming out as it's shooting down the people in front. And then they had a Darth Vader. They're hard to see because it's so dark. There was a Darth Vader and a couple of stormtroopers walking with them. And so that was really cool. Okay. All right. And then, of course, just one of the, basically one of the maintenance trucks and stuff. They have a few just vehicles that kind of drive around with the parade in case of any breakdowns or anything like that. Then they've got spares to help out. Now, coming behind the TIE Fighter is, of course, the XWing. So everybody loves an XWing, and I love the details on this one as well. Again, beautifully done. So many lights on this float or on any of these floats. It's really cool how they made it look like the wings have moving lights on them, so it looks like it's kind of flying through space. And then, they always do something to make it look like the motors are running or the engines are running. And so that's really cool as well. All right, so we're going to be coming up on the next float. So let's see here. There is signs throughout the parade. Unfortunately, we could not read them. They weren't lit up enough, so I can't tell you what the actual signs say, but I'm guessing they were about either businesses or something to do with the festival. So, but yeah, there were a couple of lit signs walking by, and we were just like, we can't read that, so I don't know what it said. This float here is really cute. So it actually looks like a blimp, but when you look closely, it's actually a minion blimp. So of course his eye is blinking, and then his big smile underneath of the eye, and then the back part of the blimp is his pants. So yeah, we've got a nice little minion blimp there. It's really cute. And then of course you got to wait for a little bit again for the stuff to catch up. So our next little thing is Wally. Now they did spell Wally's name differently. They spelled it with a Y instead of an E, like in the movie. But this is so cute. I love Wally. It's one of my favorite movies. It is just awesome. And the float is so adorable and really, really represents Wally. I really love it. Okay, so this next float is probably one of the most popular floats that comes by. And I think everybody just loves this one. So this is actually, they call it the USS East Peoria, or the aka USS Enterprise. This float is so awesome and has so many moving parts and lights where it looks like the engines are running, and then the lights going around the outside of the capsule up front. Totally cool float, you guys. One of my favorites. Along with the Chinese dragon. It is totally awesome. And of course, it is one of my mom's all-time favorites because she is a huge Trekkie fan and actually named my older sister after a Star Trek character. So I will not go into that just because there's been a whole discussion about that most of her life, and I'm pretty sure she's probably tired of hearing it. Then, of course, you got to have the 57 Chevy in here, you guys. So this 57 Chevy has been in the parade for quite some time as well. It is a beautiful float. I love it. It really does look like you could just hop into that and drive away on that car. It's really awesome. And, of course, there are some people in the top. This is the parade's queen, or the festival's queen, and I think her court. And so she's up there waving away at everybody as she goes by. So our next float would be, I call it the Cruella de Vil float car. I don't know that is what it's supposed to be, but I don't think that's what they call it. And I can't remember what the actual model of car is, but it's really cool to see the Cruella de Vil car going by. Okay, so our next float coming up would be the monster truck. So this was a favorite of my sons, both of my sons, when they were younger, of course, and probably now that they're older as well. So it's really cool. Looks like it's rolling away down the road there. And then there is a motorcycle along with this as well. I think that's supposed to be a chopper. And then the guitars that look like they're playing music. So that is really awesome. But I just love that little toy truck. My boys loved it so much when they were kids. It was probably one of their favorites. All right, coming up behind the guitar here now is, I think, the tractor, if I remember correctly. I think this is the little toy tractor. Now, if you don't know, East Peoria, Illinois was a huge town for Caterpillar, so we have had tractors in the parade because of that. Some of Caterpillar has moved out of the area, so it's not quite as big anymore. But, of course, we still got to commemorate it being there with a nice little tractor kind of going by. So that's great. Okay, so the next float, I call this the little train. There is another train that comes on earlier. So this is the little train, and this has the 2020 Lights Fights winner award in the center of it. So it's bringing the light fight trophy in with it. Now, not the real one or anything. This is a lighted one, so that's really cool. And that's what that torch looking thing in the middle is there. It's because they won the 2020 Christmas light fights. And you can go back and watch that episode, and there's things, stuff on YouTube about it as well, from them winning the light fight, which is really cool and was really awesome because this parade has been going on for so long, and it has been basically a huge part of the community now for quite some time, and everybody just loves it. Okay, so the next float coming up is, of course, the Batmobile. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there are also other hero characters walking around with this. I did see a Captain America. There was Catwoman. There was a Thor walking along. So here's Thor coming up right now. You can kind of see his shadow. And that was, whoever was doing that Thor, that was a big dude. So that guy was huge. My husband said he was standing on the sidewalk and Thor was on the street and walked by him, and he still towered over him. So it's a big guy. And this here, I think, is Captain America walking by. And I think that is Catwoman, if I remember. It might be Batgirl, but I think it's Catwoman. And of course, the Batmobile, totally awesome. Love the Batmobile. And some of my, probably my husband's favorite float is the Batmobile. So let's see what is coming up next here. These floats are just so awesome. They're so detailed. I love how they have just made it look so, they're almost realistic looking. It is really cool. So this was a float that I hadn't seen before. It's kind of more like a trailer than a float. And I'm not sure who was on this trailer, but had some people waving. Oh yes, this is for the NBC station that was here. I just saw the peacock tail in the back of that trailer. I forgot about that. So yeah, so that is the NBC station that is local here, and they're actually in East Peoria, so they're a part of the parade as well. And so we will continue on, and let's see what is the next float that is coming up. So this one too was something new this year. They did a few new things for the 40th anniversary. And so this was something I hadn't seen before. This is basically, I think it was like a dance team or a performance arts team or something like that. But usually there isn't a whole lot of that in there. It's usually just the float. So it was pretty cool to see some kids and stuff all lit up and dancing around on the street. So that was really cool. Okay, so our next float, of course, is the Energizer Bunny. Now, this guy usually zooms and stuff around it. If you kind of watch back a little bit, you might see him back further where he was kind of doing circles and stuff around in the street. But, of course, you got to have the Energizer Bunny in the parade to just keep the energy flowing. I think it's really cute that they put that in there. Maybe he can go help some people power up if they have some problems. But he's really cute. And, of course, once again, very detailed. I just love it. It's totally awesome. So there is your little Energizer Bunny going by. So cute. And, of course, you can see my husband and my granddaughter playing with their light sticks. Each of the floats are playing music as well. And we are listening to the music in the car as well. But, they got to drum along to the beat. Now, this is the Mama Duck and her 6 little babies. This is such a cute float. Everybody loves this float because of the babies. They are so adorable. Their beaks move and they quack, as they're going by. It's just so adorable. They're all on their own little, puddles, basically. Although I think there's supposed to be one big lake for them all to be traveling around in. But it's just the cutest little float. People just love it. Now here comes another one of my favorite floats. This is the big whale, and behind it is a baby whale as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm guessing it's supposed to be after Pinocchio. But this whale is so cool, and his tail moves up and down, which you'll see here in a little bit as he gets closer up. But just a beautiful float and fantastically done. I love this float. It is so cute, and especially with the little baby whale following behind. So adorable. I know there's not a baby whale in Pinocchio, but who cares? It's a baby whale. They're adorable. Why wouldn't you want to see a baby whale, you know? So yeah, so this is one of my favorite floats as well, mainly because I just love whales, but I also just love the little movement in the tail, and it's so detailed and just looks perfect. And then just the little baby whale following behind its mother there. So cute. Just love it. Okay, and our next little float coming up here. It's just going to take a minute. It's just a little bit slow right now. So we are kind of right by where they all turn a corner. So they try to space them out a little bit just to make sure. So if you have never been to the Peoria, Illinois area, you probably wouldn't know this, but at one time ago, we did have a paddle boat called the Julie Bell Swing. And originally, that's what this float kind of was like a replica of the Julie Bell Swing. The Julie Bell Swing has since moved on. It is not here anymore, but now we have the Paradise Riverboat, which, as you can see, there's dice and some gambling pieces on this boat now, which is basically what it's meant to represent. The Paradise, when it first came, was a paddle boat like this. And it used to actually ride around the river, and you could gamble while you were riding around the river. Now it is actually docked in East Peoria, and it is no longer a paddle boat. It's just a big boat, and it doesn't move anymore, which is kind of sad. It's kind of nicer when it did move. This here is the fire truck, of course. Now, this is the actual size of a real fire truck, so it is really cool that they made it so big, and it's a life-size of a fire truck. And it does have usually a guy back here in this little box who is in there. I think it used to actually move a little bit. Yeah, see, there's a little guy back there in the box, but I think the ladder and stuff used to move up and down. I don't know if it does anymore. But, you know, things have changed, and, you know, they're getting short on volunteers and stuff. So they've probably had to make some changes. So we saw the smaller train. This here is the huge train. I love this steam train. It is so cool, pulling a big old Christmas tree with it. Kind of reminds me of maybe New York receiving its Christmas tree, but pulls the big old Christmas tree with it. It has great features. I love this float as well, probably one of my favorites. And then the little caboose in the back is so adorable. So yeah, this is an awesome, and it's very, very big. I don't even want to know how long it took to build this float. It is totally awesome. I love that float. And of course, it's the EPNW Railroad, which is totally funny. Now, East Peoria is a big railroad community. They do have railroad depots and stuff in East Peoria. So, of course, that's why you see a lot of the trains and things like that. Okay, so this guy is really cute. This is the robot dog. And, of course, he is just adorable. I just love him. And they did a really good job at making it look like a robot dog. It is so funny. So it's also really, really cute. It's a robot dog. Why wouldn't it be cute? Okay, you guys. So a couple times the East Peoria Festival of Lights Parade, and I think the festival itself, has been sponsored by Budweiser. Now, we have a few times over the years had the actual Budweiser Clydesdale horses, the real life ones, in the parade. The first time that they were there, I think it was around 2019 or something, may have been before that, but they made this replica float with the 8 Clydesdales, the Dalmatian out front, pulling the Budweiser trailer. This is my favorite. No doubt. I have favorites in it, but this is my favorite, mainly because I love Clydesdales. They are like my favorite horse of all time. But this float is so intricate. I absolutely love it. I wish that the live Clydesdales could have been there this year, but they were not. But, that's okay. The float is just as good to look at. Okay, so this float here, it took us a little bit to figure out what this was on the front. It is a snowman. It's just, I think it's supposed to be from something. I'm just not sure what it is. But of course, behind that is the polar bear. And Coke has sponsored the parade a couple times. We even had Coca-Cola cans with the East Peoria Festival of Lights on it. So that is from when Coke sponsored it. I don't know if they call it the Coke Bear anymore, but that's basically what it was made for. And then, of course, you've got to have good old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer coming down the road here. And he's going to be coming in front of Santa Claus so that he can guide Santa on his way. It's just really cute. I love Rudolph there with his little pine trees and stuff. Very adorable. And of course, here comes the Grinch, you guys. So this is a cute little float that has a Christmas tree with a couple of kids and stuff on it. And the Grinch is walking around and waving at everybody. You can see him a little bit. It's a little bit hard to see him, but there he is waving at everybody. So we have the Grinch also coming before Santa Claus, and then there were some performers and stuff behind him coming in as well. Too adorable. I love the Grinch, and my granddaughter is just fascinated with the Grinch right now, so she really loved that the Grinch came by and waved to her. She thought that was totally awesome. Okay, you guys, so our last float for the night is, of course, Santa Claus. And Santa Claus is so awesome. We love Santa Claus at the East Peoria Festival of Lights. Now, if I remember correctly, at one time the reindeer were kind of like the Clydesdale. They looked like a big reindeer. I think they have changed it. I may be remembering that wrong, but I'm pretty sure at one time it was the bigger reindeer. But this is still really cute with their feet moving, looking like they're on takeoff, getting ready to fly through the air. Totally awesome. And of course, Santa Claus back there in his sled, waving away to everybody to get this holiday season started. Hello, Santa. We love you. Woohoo! So this will be pretty much the end of the parade, you guys. Isn't that is just so cool. I love that sled and stuff. It's so awesome. And they have a really good Santa. But that's it for this parade, you guys. I will be hopefully showing you guys some of the other stuff that goes on for the festival. We're going to try to go through the drive-through as well, so you guys will get to see some of that. And then some of the other events that they set up. So I'm glad you guys got to see this, and hope you like the video. Like and subscribe if you like, or don't if you don't. Everybody have a good day. Enjoy your holidays, and we'll see you later. Bye.